All right, here with Daniel for the midweek pod. How are you doing, sir?
I'm not bad. How are you?
Yeah, doing all right. Enjoying the sunshine that we have right here. How about you?
It's actually, yeah. The beginning of the summer in London, at least, was horrendous. But August has actually been almost acceptable. My daughter, I was just downstairs. My daughter was watching the 10-year-old. She's watching the Taylor Swift concert. And I don't get it at all.
No.
As in, like, if I think, and I'm just picking pop music that I wasn't into from my childhood because it's just what I know. But East 17, Take That. Like, there weren't bands that I was into, but some bangers between them. And I'm sitting there with this Taylor Swift one, and I just don't get it.
I was forced to sit through 3 hours of that as well. Yeah.
By who?
By the missus, who...
Is this foreplay?
3 hours of it. Come on. Oh, dearie me, I'd fall asleep by then. Yeah, which I nearly did in the Taylor Swift concert. No, it's not for me. But my daughter's off to see Taylor Swift tonight, so at Wembley.
Yeah, it's just like I want to get it. Like, I'm not looking at it I don't think like an old bastard. I'm looking at it like I love music, I love tunes. I spend a lot of my time pursuing it. So when I see something, I want it to be good. I don't want to sit there going, "Is this it?" or trying not to go, "Is this it?"
Yeah.
And like, I just made a noise and she's like, "Stop it." I didn't say it was fucking shit. I didn't say that, obviously.
She knows what you think, though. David De Gea was famously into metal.
Metal, yeah.
Yeah, which of the United dressing room are into Taylor Swift? And if someone tried to put it on the dressing room radio, would they get pelters for it? Surely.
But yeah, doused in Monster. Cans of Monster by De Gea. I went to the discotheque the other day. Well, actually, not the discotheque. It was outside. I went to see Kind of Music in Finsbury Park. Who were not bad. I mean, they found like the loveliest part of Finsbury Park to do it in. So the sun's coming through the trees and stuff. It was cool. But I'd seen them in Ibiza like last year. And by mistake, my wife thought we were going to go and see Skrillex, which neither of us particularly wanted to do. And we were standing there thinking, don't think this is Skrillex, but this is a really, really good set. And it turned out we thought we were in the main room, but we wasn't. We was in the other room. And so we discovered this DJ called Adam Port, who was part of this German collective called Kind of Music. So they took over Finsbury Park at the weekend on Sunday. And I mean, there is something nice about going to the discotheque on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
But it felt like one of those things where, because it was their thing, you think, well, you're going to play the best set that you possibly can. And they did not. But it was, it was better than work, I guess, which is what we've been doing otherwise.
True. Dangerously close to the Arsenal. Well, at least the old ground.
I used to live around there. I mean, there was that point when I was at Arsenal and they're going, "Live round the corner." And I'm thinking, well, actually, I kind of do.
Yeah. Oh, dear. Very good. All right.
Before we played them in the Champions League semi that time, the tickets come, and my wife goes, she wasn't my wife, and goes, "Oh, I fancy going to that." Yeah, that's not, ain't going out like that, I'm afraid.
All right. Today we're going to talk about a little bit about the Fulham game at the weekend and what Eric has to contend with in terms of players in and injuries. We'll talk a little bit about Matthias de Ligt and Nusam Mazraoui, who've signed on. We did a daily for our YouTube channel, so no question about that on YouTube if you haven't checked it out. But we'll also have a chat here and talk a little bit about the various injuries and stuff like that. And Bruno Fernandes' new contract. In fact, why don't we start there? He signed a new contract. It'll keep him here until he's into his nearly mid-30s. Not quite. He's going to be put on Marcus Rashford wages, by the sounds of it. How do we feel about this one?
I think there was a point where I was thinking, if he wanted to leave, then for the progression of the team, I'd probably have said, well, I guess okay. But I don't want him to leave. I think he's brilliant. I love him. And although it feels like a lot of wages for a long time after he's past his peak, he's not reliant on pace or power. So in theory, he should still be able to do what he does for quite some time. He says in the official pod that he thinks he could be a number 6 when he gets older. And that I wonder about because I think I think for that position, pace and power are quite important. But he can obviously play his without it. So I mean, I want him to be around when we win something proper. The same way that Robbo was there in '93, and he is basically the Robbo of the post-Fergie era, of the only dickhead who can be asked to play well regularly, constantly let down by incompetence around him.
No, I was there
without the injuries.
I would say when Robbo lifted the trophy with Steve Bruce in '93, and he thoroughly deserved it for his many years of getting injured for United. So, which Bruno does not ever, and basically never takes a break.
Yeah,
he keeps on going.
Robbo's goal against Wimbledon in the last game of that season is probably top 3 United goals, where it was just this epochal event, and everyone had scored apart from him, and then he gets basically put through, and you're kind of like, oh fuck, he better not miss this. And even though the goal meant absolutely nothing. To me, at that point, I was there with my dad. I wrote something about it for The Guardian, if anyone's interested. Robbo was, I guess, my United dad in some ways. And he doesn't miss. And it felt like the culmination of a life's work, I guess. But the culmination of a life's work that you thought it might not come.
Right.
So when it does come, it's such a special moment. And Bruno, I mean, I wouldn't say he deserves it because you don't deserve it really until you get it. But I hope that we are able to get good while he's still there, because he's wasted his career away with us when he maybe could have been doing something better.
Well, so did David De Gea for a few years, and to a lesser extent, Paul Pogba, who was somewhat the architect of his own downfall. I mean, Robbo was at United for what, 13 years, was it? Yeah, a couple of cups in there and not a lot else. So, Robbo appeared in the launch video for the new third kit. I think it's the third kit, the white with the stripes, which is a cracking video if you haven't seen it.
I haven't actually.
It's good. It's all based at the cliff. It's sort of about the passion of playing, whether you're good or not. And it's got Garnacho, Højlund, and Mainu recreating their sitting on the fence celebration and narration, and Robbo's there and so on. Anyway, it's a cracking launch video, and it didn't half make me think, wow, United are really good at doing this stuff. Shame we're not much good on the pitch.
You see, I don't love this kit. Like, to me, it doesn't look like a football kit. I said it on Twitter, but it looks like something you'd have found on the peg in River Island or Top Man in about 1997 when there was that kind of mod revival clothing situation. It's not objectionable, but it feels like it's the kind of thing you'd see someone wearing in Yates's in Watford.
Oh man. I was going to say, I quite like it.
No, it's not offensive, and I can see why, but yeah, it's not one for me, I guess.
Well, it's an interesting mix. Yeah, no, fair enough. Interesting mix of kits this year, because there's this sort of weird fade on the red kit. So it's kind of plain at the front and got this fade at the back, and then it goes into these kind of what look like lurid red stripes on the shorts. Not a fan of that. And then the second kit looks like a cricket kit for 100%. That should be in the 100. And then the third's a kind of callback to the 80s, isn't it? Or to that mid-90s white and black and red one. The only thing is it looks a bit unbalanced. So the stripes are really high and the logo's really low. And so there is that. So take the logo off and it's looked like a cracking sort of training top.
The collar on the away kit is a bit weird. It looks like you could put a tie on it.
Or maybe you can.
That doesn't feel like football kit territory to me.
Well, if anyone's got one of those coming this weekend, put a tie on it. And if you go off to a wedding or something, late summer wedding, I dare you to do it. Send us pictures. All right. Very good. So Bruno here for another 4 years. 5 years? Can't remember now. on a lot of money. Minor note, while we're talking about contracts, Cole Palmer had signed an extra 2-year extension. He's now got a 9-year contract. Is this Todd Bowley, like football genius, showing us how football should really work again? Because we didn't know.
I think this is what they do in baseball.
They do mega long contracts, yeah.
And you stockpile players so no one else can have them. I don't think football works. I mean, I was surprised he signed that because I guess I would have been thinking, if I was him, I'm thinking another year of this and I'm getting out of here.
Because, well, quite. I mean, maybe it was a big bump in salary because apparently a lot of them were signed to reasonably low salaries. But still,
if you don't have a get out, I mean, do you have a get out? Because to me, like the two clubs that I would not join if I had options are Chelsea and Spurs. United will always, because of the money, will always be one good manager away from being good. Chelsea, the problem's the owner, and he's not going anywhere. And they just binned Pochettino for fucking Enzo Maresca. What? And if I'm Palmer, I'm thinking they just keep signing people, and it's still a mess. How am I going to get myself out of it? And I wouldn't go to Spurs because you don't win, and they won't let you leave.
Yeah.
So if you've got options, that is a club I would 100% avoid. And Chelsea is the same for different reasons. It's just they're being run by someone who thinks he knows what he's doing and does not.
Mm-hmm.
And why would you commit yourself to that? I don't get it unless there's a get out clause.
Yeah, unless there's a release clause of some kind. Yeah, it is very odd that players would commit to that length of time. I mean, I guess it's security. Chelsea now have 44 first-team players. 44. I mean, that's a lot of sales they have to do.
They're including Lukaku. Is he still one?
Yeah, he's still on the books. Yeah, amazingly enough, he is still on the books. Talking to sales before we get onto Fulham, discussions today, reports today that Jadon Sancho is very much interested in Paris Saint-Germain, and they are still interested in him. I thought they might not be because they signed Doué.
I read that they weren't. I can't remember who said it though.
So I don't know. It would be, I mean, if they came anywhere above 22 and a bit million, it would cover United's PSR cost. And anything more than that, it's a profit, unbelievably. So, I mean, if they get 40 million out of someone, it's a good deal. Right.
I agree. I mean, I don't think he's ever going to be a United player. I can't see too many occasions I'd want to use him this season because I guess the reason is really that he's not going to start. He's behind Rashford and Garnacho for the left wing. And he's not someone I'd bring on if we were losing.
No.
And
definitely not.
That whole fuss about how well he played against PSG in the Champions League. That wasn't
that was a half
performance. It was all right.
Yeah.
It was better than what we were used to from him. And I say this to someone, I think he could and should be a beautiful footballer. I think he's immensely talented. He's got lovely feet. He's got great intelligence, imagination, the combination play. But for whatever reason, I don't think the Premier League probably is the right league for him. I don't think United's the right club for him. And anything half sensible, I'd drive him to the airport.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not in a kind of, I hate him kind of way, because, they've come to some kind of agreement. Fine. I don't think he's been super professional at United, but yes, under Ten Hag, it's not going to work. Mostly because of the kind of style of football, let alone the kind of personalities and whether he's got the intensity to play for United. And I don't think he has. But the style of football, he's never going to play in a heavy possession-based side under Ten Hag. That's just not the way he plays.
But
he should play for that kind of team.
Are we not trying to be a more possession-heavy team this season? I mean, the players that we're buying
suggest it for sure. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if it's that exactly because, Ten Hag will know as well that the only time probably a team that haven't dominated possession of one league in the Premier League probably was Leicester.
Yeah.
If you want to be good, you're going to have to dominate possession. You wouldn't have to dominate possession against City, but against pretty much everyone else, particularly at home, you need to dominate the ball. So I feel like the playing of that slightly different style felt to me like more of a workaround than a plan. And Xerxes is a player who will help you keep the ball. If Ahmad plays a fair amount, he's another one. definitely relative to Garnacho and Rashford, who is about keeping the ball, who's going to come into midfield, who's going to be part of the play, who's going to pass the ball and follow it. And I think what we're going to see is the team are going to be much closer together this season. The wingers aren't going to be as wide. And the idea will be that you've always got an option on the ball. And I think that's the plan. But I still don't think Jadon Sancho is part of that, although obviously he's a really talented player. So if he stayed for the season and played some games, he might contribute.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think tactically there's something in that presumably to get the best out of Marcus Rashford, they're going to want him to play like a bit narrower, and the same with Garnacho for sure. Ahmad's slightly different, although he likes to cut in, of course, all the time from the right. Anthony, we know, does that too. But in buying Mazraoui, whenever Shaw is fit, I guess we can't rely on that. It suggests they're going to try and have like fullbacks who are a little higher up the pitch and maybe even joining the press, although we didn't see that in pre-season, but certainly overlapping a bit more. All right, let's get on to Fulham a little bit because we can discuss some of this. Okay, so Matthias de Ligt and Nusar Mazraoui have signed, done deal. It's funny that the kit presentation was a much bigger fanfare than the two new players we've invested 60 million euros in, but priorities, I guess. That news came like as news broke that Luke Shaw is out for 6 weeks with a hamstring strain, apparently known about for quite some time. I was having to go at the journalist who broke it because he claimed an exclusive. I was like, "You've just posted this a minute after they sent a press release out." Apparently did know. Apparently he knew a week ago in the club to ask him to hold off on it. So, but yeah, I mean, I guess it shouldn't be a surprise, but bloody hell, out again.
I mean, that's the problem with him, that he doesn't play anywhere near often enough. You can't rely on him. And obviously we had other work to do this summer, so I understand why we haven't got a left back. And yeah, it is fairly nuts that we're going into the season without a left back, just with an extra person that can play there if necessary. And I don't think Mazraoui has played left back very much.
No, for Morocco, but mostly right back.
Yeah, less often than Dalot has. I mean, I'm guessing, but I imagine Mazraoui will play at the weekend.
I mean, he's kind of going to have to, isn't he? I mean, otherwise we're into Lisandro Martinez at left back again, which I like. I mean, it depends on your style. If you're going to have a Manchester City style build-up, then that's all right, actually. I think he's comfortable in the ball. If you want high overlapping fullbacks, which is the suggestion in buying Mazraoui, then it's not all right. He's not going to do that. So yeah.
I mean, he is really good going forward, Mazraoui. I think we might see as much underlapping as overlapping. I think he's really good at getting the ball, getting the ball into the box, being part of the link-up play. And certainly a lot better at it than Wan-Bissaka,
for sure.
So I mean, and his injuries. I mean, he has missed time with injury, but I think he missed quite a lot of time with an eye injury. I don't think that is a chronic complaint. So
no, he's had a lot of muscle injuries. I did look it up actually because I was looking up how many games he's missed. And he's like consistent muscle injuries, which is worrying. And that might be part of his sort of dynamic style, but maybe just it's part of his body. The eye injury was a freak, clearly. De Ligt, who's also had a lot of injuries, but really most of them were last season. So he's missed 62 games throughout his career through injury, 30-something were last season with 2 knee injuries. So I'm kind of less worried about that. I think that's, it wasn't a full knee injury. It was a couple of minor knee injuries that cost him a lot of games.
Yeah, I mean, there's a De Ligt that never goes down. I haven't quite. I'm working on it. I'm not there. I'm not there yet. But yeah, there's the De Ligt that never goes down. Said Mrs. De Ligt. Anyway.
Oh Jesus!
I know. I'm sure he does. I'm sure he is a caring and sensitive lover. But so I mean, he's not really the age or type of player that I think I would have gone for here. Because I think that we've already got Martinez wants to go and attack the ball. De Ligt is also a front foot defender. Neither of them have amazing recovery pace. So on the one hand, when we're talking about this possession-heavy style that we think we might change to, if you've got those two and they're both going to be up the pitch, then that does help that way of playing. But I think the problem with the Ligt is presumably they've told Euro that he's going to be playing, and that'd be one of the reasons he signed. But presumably they've said something similar to the Ligt because he's not coming to not coming to hang around. And I feel like Euro is probably the better partner for both him and Martinez. If we talk about profile. I don't know if he's better than De Ligt now, but what De Ligt gives you is intangibles. He gives you leadership, he gives you aggression, he gives you mentality, and those are things that we could do with. And so it may be that Ten Hag is so enamoured of these intangibles, and these intangibles are so helpful that they'll end up being more important than the stuff he doesn't do. And really, it's not so much within the stuff he doesn't do. He does a bit of everything. It's just he's brilliant at box defending. He's probably not brilliant at anything else. He's just good at it.
Yeah, he's good at it all. I mean, it's the acceleration that is slightly worrying. His pace is all right once he gets going. I think it's that first 3 to 5 yards, which always looks a bit concerning to me. But I think the general defending is excellent. I
thought it was the other way around with him. I thought that he's actually pretty good over the first few yards, but because he's powerful, so he can get off the mark. But I don't know. I might be wrong. But it's if he gets isolated in space in the channels, then he's going to have a problem. But then if he's against someone fast, almost every defender in the world is going to have a problem. And I guess Euro is one of those that isn't, but there are many of them. And in the meantime, I mean, we did need an extra centre back because we can't be with an injury or suspension of Maguire or Lindelof, whichever one is least out of favour at the time. And I also hope that by buying him, that is a message to both of them to do one. That you're not going to play. I don't rate you, is what the manager is saying. Because if I did, I wouldn't be signing him.
No, so our centre backs will be Martinez, De Ligt, Euro. Pick 2 from 3 there, or really Martinez plus one other. And then I guess Maguire's first reserve, and you got Johnny Evans who's signed a new contract, and I think Lindelof presumably is going to get sold now because he's not on massive wages. And
I don't understand why you wouldn't sell Maguire as well if you could.
I mean, if you can, he's a year away from being a free transfer, so you'd be in a situation like when Bazaka demanding half the fee because he's a year away from getting.
He does love a pound note, Harrens. Loves the folding green.
Don't we all?
Not enough to vote Tory, and I can't actually say that because I don't know if he does, but I got a feeling.
All right, so yeah, I mean, at the weekend it's going to be some. I guess, I mean, assuming there's no fresh injuries, Mascherano will play on the left and Dalot on the right, and
I wonder if it'll be the other way around.
You think it'll be the other way around?
I wonder if you've got someone new, which Mascherano is, and also is who hasn't played left back as much as Dalot. I would probably play Dalot on the left, Mascherano on the right. I don't know if he'll play De Ligt. He might play Maguire, but again, if you want to start the season, you want to play this way. You want to be aggressive. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense because what happens if you play Maguire is you then have the aggravation of dropping him either A, after you've won, he's played all right, or B, after he's played badly and you may have lost. So I just draw a line under this sorry chapter and get De Ligt in because it's Fulham, but then not long after Fulham, it's Liverpool.
Yeah.
And you don't want Maguire there, and you also don't want them getting momentum for a new manager with a win at Old Trafford. So I'd say there's probably a choice. There's a choice to be made there. I hope he picks De Ligt, and otherwise, more or less, it'll be Casemiro, Manu, Bruno, and then there's a choice of it. I mean, unless he plays Mount and plays Bruno up front, and I mean, maybe that's what will happen actually.
Yeah, might do. I mean, of course, he played that kind of double false 9 at the weekend. So yeah, may well happen. I mean, I guess the other choices up front are which 2 of 3 from Rashford, Garnacho, and Ahmad will start. I I mean, it'd be extraordinary if he binned off Ahmad after a whole bunch of good performances in pre-season for Anthony at the start of the season. I mean, he could do, but
I won't be. It won't be Anthony. But I mean, Garnacho. The thing about him is just that he. I mean, the reason I think he's a good substitute is because he's a fucking good player. But he is also a really good substitute. Having to deal with that when you're knackered is annoying. It must be. So apparently I read today, and I can't remember where I read it, so the person who said it might not know what they're talking about, that he asked to come back to training early in order to be ready for the first game, and they think he's going to start the first game. But I mean, I'd be happy with Ahmad because it feels like quite a gentle, not gentle, Fulham aren't shit, but if you were picking a game to start with, that wouldn't be that far away from the top of your shortlist. I mean, it's not a bad game to start with Fulham at home. So it feels like it's one where you could start with Ahmad and see how it goes.
Because Rashford's an interesting one because, I mean, we do. He's going to be a really. I mean, of course, he's going to play a lot of games this season. Garnacho, Rashford had a good preseason, looked sharper than for quite some time, and then missed 2 really big chances at the weekend against City. I don't know whether Eric really makes judgments about players on that, 2 moments.
Yeah,
because the rest of the game was all right. I suspect he'll start.
If we're going to have a good season, are we going to need him to have a good season?
Yeah. Because Rashford is for all his inconsistencies, season to season, and all the perception about his pressing or lack of, but much the commentary of which was wrong. He's the only person in this squad who's proven to be able to score 30 goals a season. The only person. So,
and if you're facing United, do you want him to play?
No.
If he's focused, I've actually just got an alert on my phone that Bruno signed his new contract. So that is now Comunicado official. So we are going to need something from him this season, and if he's sharp and focused, which he appears to be, then he's going to score goals. And I'm not too fussed about a missed chance in the Charity Shield, even though I think he should have scored.
I should have scored with both of them. Yep. They were not like 50% plus XG chances, but still, for him, come on.
The one from the cross. I mean, you're waiting. As a strike, you're sort of waiting for that.
Yeah, he basically shinned it.
Yeah, you're waiting for that kind of chance. That's why you're there. It was bad. It was a badass miss, that.
Xerxes. I'll try and get this right. Interesting. He didn't get any minutes off the bench against City. He hasn't had much of a pre-season because he came back from the Euros. We'll want him to play at some point, won't we?
I mean, soon, because we want to set it forward. I mean, it doesn't feel like it's going to be at the weekend. I think that they not decide that there was some closed doors game on Monday that he was going to play all of. So he was only on the bench for emergencies at the weekend. But it's a bit annoying, obviously, that you've signed a striker, your main striker's injured, and you've got this other one who's not playing. But I guess we will see him soon. But I don't think. Yeah, I mean, I said that it'll be Bruno in midfield, but on reflection, I think maybe it won't be. It will be Bruno up front, and that'll be an opportunity to get Mount in the team as well. And suddenly, if you've got that, then if Mount and Ahmad are playing, then keeping possession suddenly much easier because you've got players that know how to look after the ball. That's their instinct, is to look after the ball.
Yeah. Have we got players to score enough goals against potentially a low block from Fulham? Fulham have had an interesting summer, haven't they? Because they haven't done a lot of business, and then they spunked 35 million on Emil Smith-Rowe, who's barely played a game for 2 years. And they're buying a memory of Emil Smith-Rowe, who was good for a little while. Kind of interesting to spend your entire budget on that.
And they've sold Palhinha, who has been crucial for the last 2 seasons.
Yeah. So they spend their money looking at Transfermarkt on Jorge Cuenca from Villarreal, Emil Smith-Rowe from Arsenal, and Ryan Sessegnon, who's there on loan, wasn't he, last year, who's a permanent transfer.
Another coup for Tottenham, he was.
Yeah.
I keep reading, and I say keep, and it's more than a few times, and one of them was in Jamie Carragher's predictions, that they're going to finish above us.
I just don't see it.
I cannot see that.
No, I think United are going to be reasonably good this season. I think, hopefully learned a lot of mistakes from the past. Certainly got enough charismatic voices around him, Ten Hag, to say, yeah, fuck this shit if he's gone, on some kind of mental tactical run like he did last season. Yeah, I don't see it. Big Ange, it was kind of interesting here. I saw an interview with him recently where he said he would rather have a player with great character, a player that really cares.
Sign me!
Than a good player. He would trade that off.
I'm there. I have an excellent character.
I'm not sure.
Despite the squirrel murdering.
Yeah. I think maybe your technical skills aren't up to it. I haven't seen you play football, so I maybe not be, maybe doing you a disservice there, but it seems unlikely.
I would say I was sort of Teddy Sheringham, that kind of thing, like very slow, but couldn't head it either. But like I was that kind of player. I was vision and touches and finishing.
Yeah.
But
don't believe it.
No pace.
Yeah. All right. Do we have any? That's about it for the week, isn't it?
So bring it back to Taylor Swift, because this was what occurred to me, that someone messaged me on Twitter a while ago when we were talking about parenting, and I always say to my daughter something like, "You don't have to be extra; you're enough." And he messaged me saying, "If you like to say shit, maybe we should do a parenting spot." So something that just occurred to me when I was thinking about this Taylor Swift thing on that parenting tip is that something else I've kind of learned is, this isn't just a parent, nieces, nephews, friends, kids. Something that I think is important when relating to kids, I always try and do, is always try and take them seriously. And when I say that, I don't mean don't take the piss out of them, because that's what we do in our family and amongst my group of mates. But when you're sitting there having a conversation with a kid, give them your full attention, and relate to them like you would relate to anyone that you're talking to, that you're trying to take seriously. So yeah, that was something I was thinking about when I was watching this Taylor Swift thing, when I was like, I'm gonna try to take this seriously. My daughter, like she loves tunes. She's not a massive Swiftie or anything, but whatever it is they're doing, whether they're watching some shitty television show or reading a book that you don't like, or whatever it is, or they're telling you something, always take it seriously, and don't make them think that you're not listening, or that you think that they're talking bollocks. And that's the situation where you've got to say, sorry, I don't agree with that. But I mean, the actual frivolity of something that they think is serious,
yes,
always take that with requisite seriousness.
I agree. They need an arm around the shoulder, not a teacup throwing at them. Fergie would know. Although I don't know. You reckon Fergie was a good parent? I don't suppose he would have been there very much.
He wasn't. He didn't. No. He didn't. I mean, they talk about it in the film that he does with Jason, which I must say pissed me off at the time when I heard he was doing it, because it's just like, hang on. This son of yours, he was by amazing coincidence the best agent that all the young players at United should have, is now the best film director. And I guess in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I want to make this. But actually, it's not enough about football, or at least I wanted Fergie to have like a last dance, Jordan style thing. But it's more about memories, and Jason definitely gets to places that it would be harder for someone that wasn't his son to get to. And it's actually quite a moving, beautiful film. I watched it thinking, this is probably going to make me angry, but it didn't at all. And I really liked it. And he talks about not being there as a parent, because he's always elsewhere, and not just physically, but mentally, he's elsewhere. And Klopp talks about it as well, that if you want to, it's so consuming what these guys do, that, I mean, not probably as consuming for Fergie, in that Fergie, I remember him saying he'd make a decision and then he would forget about it. He said, why am I going to bed? Why am I going to my bed with a problem or something? And I think he was quite good at limiting the stress post the stressful period, that he could go home and watch the racing or watch the History Channel or whatever. But, as a parent, I think, number one, he's quite old. And so what fathers did what his father, the parenting that his father would have done, and what he did, things have changed quite a lot since then. And obviously, his job would have made it even more difficult. On the other hand, his kids get to grow up knowing that my dad's fucking bigger than your dad. I mean, I don't mean it like that. I just mean like there's clearly a certain amount of pride in your dad being Ferg.
Very true. All right. I think that is it for the week. Predictions for the weekend or Friday. Sorry. You're going to open the season with a win.
I think a difficult game that we end up winning 3-1.
Yeah, I think United will win.
Have we even scored 3 goals in pre-season?
No.
Oh, goodness me.
No, I don't believe we did. No, wait there. 3 against Betis.
Oh, no, we didn't.
3-2.
2 against Rangers. We scored 2 against Rangers as well, but
yeah.
You know what I mean? That we do still have a problem in both boxes, scoring, not scoring and conceding.
It's an essential problem with football, yeah. I mean, I do worry that if we don't have a striker for some time, and we're playing in front of teams like Fulham, who are going to defend in a deep block, that we might be in trouble.
Well, I guess
like this. I still think we're going to win this one.
That's why I guess you might want Ahmad for this one, not Garnacho. Garnacho, he can obviously play against those blocks, but he likes open spaces. And that's maybe more likely to appear later on, whereas Ahmad is someone who's more likely to find you a little hole.
True. All right, we'll leave it there. We'll be back after the weekend's game. Thanks a lot, everyone. Catch you soon.